friend. This is Oscar again, talking to you in this video about strings. So we're gonna learn string manipulations and slicing, and many. We're gonna talk about the notion of of indexing. We're going to talk about the immutability of indexing and the different method as well of indexing. So stay tuned in this video and make sure you subscribe to my channel. So if you haven't seen or watched the previous video, I had a bunch of videos starting from and this is for the beginner for the course Python for beginners. I had a bunch of video how to install Python, how to install the Visual Studio codes, and um, some videos about other previous topics. So make sure you check the videos that were previously launched before this one. All right, so Python is an amazing is really amazing working with text. There are some programming languages that are just not that great, and the reason why Python is really the preferred language for data scientists is because of natural language processing, which is um, really dealing with text. And like I say, Python is definitely the best programming language that I've seen in terms of text. So let's go with strings. So strings are characterized by text using quotes. Okay, and a string is pretty much a sequence of characters. If I write print hello world, I have a string, and when I run it, I should be able to see exactly hello world. Okay, so again, the print function just tell Python to return whatever strings is inside the parentheses. You have your double quotes, and then you have whatever sentence or words um, inside of it. All right. So either you can use double quotes or you can even use single quotes. If I remove the double quotes and I just put a single quote, it's still going to give me the same answer. Okay, so it really doesn't matter. Now, you need to be really careful because there are some instances where you may need some single quotes where you're writing your sentences. Let me give you an example. So if I want to do print, and I have, if I put my single quote and I say you blessed, you can see here that Python is having a hard time to comprehend what you're doing because you have, like I mentioned, your string should start with some quotes and end with some quote. But at the same time, you have a quote here, which is fine because this is you're blessed. But at the same time, Python will be confused. So what you need to do, say, actually, let me run it. You okay? You can already see that there's a difference in color already that has been identified. And when you run it, you will see an error message. Okay, so it's gonna tell you invalid syntax. Python is thinking that this is a syntax, while this is a text. So the way you can remove the confusion is to put a double quotes and just leave the regular quotation here between U and R. So if I run it, you will see that Python accepts this syntax. Okay, so just make sure you understand that. All right, so let's move on. There are some instances where you will need to um, concatenate strings. So for instance, if I want to concatenate uh, 100 and 101. So the concatenation is the process of combining strings together, pulling strings together. So if I want to do this, 100, when you use integers, 101 plus 101, of course, gives you 200, 201. But here, since you have converted 100 into strings, which is characterized by quotes, you are not going to have the addition of both numbers, but you are going to connect the two numbers together. So you will have 100,101. All right. And let's talk about space. So if I say, if I want to do hello world, print hello and then I want to concatenate those two letters. Okay, what's going to happen is it's going to give me those two letter whole those two words hello world into one. Okay, which I don't want. So most of the programmers will either add a double quote with or a space, I would say a space, okay, to kind of separate these world. Okay, so they will either do this, in which case they will be able to see the space, or others will decide to say, hey, okay, my, um, I want to use my space, I want to write a sentence, but let me just put a space, uh, within the string, uh, within the string hello. You are going to see the same results. It's really a matter of preference and how you really want to do this. All right. So the one thing I wanted to show you also is that if there may be some instances where you may want to write the same letter multiple times or in a repeated manner, or I will not say letter, but words. So if I say Oscar and I want that to be repeated 3 times, I just have to, of course, you cannot multiply a word by 3, right? But this is a way for Python to understand that you want Oscar repeated 3 times in a row. That's pretty much it. So I'm showing you here, um, this on this whiteboard, indexing in Python, and this is your string. In your string, you have the position of every character within your string. The position can be positive, in which case we talk about positive indexing, or the position can be negative, in which case we talk about negative indexing. And as I mentioned earlier, in my previous video, probably the first letter the first letter of a word in of a string is always 0 and not 1. So don't be mistaken by that. um, and the last letter is always -1. That's just how Python has been set up. Okay, so you want to make sure you understand that. There is a notion in the notion of indexing. I don't know if I already talked about what index is. So index is an expression that expresses the position of the letter in the string. That's pretty much what it is, and it's pretty much an integer. So it locates the position of the letter within the string. So if there may be some instances where you may want to retrieve three letters in a row, in which case you are going to start from 0 up to 2. Now, remember in Python, and I need you to remember this in Python, if you request up to number 2, or position 2, Python is not going to include the letter T. It's going to consider 0 and 1. So these are in open intervals, open intervals to the right, right? So if you want to request 0 to 4, you're going to have PYTH. Okay. There are some instances where you can request every other letter, in which case this is the it's called start, stop, and position. So you will be requesting position 2 because you want to have P, you want to skip Y, and have T, you want to skip H, have O, and so on and so forth. So this is the concept of start, stop, and position. We're gonna talk about it a little further in more detail. So back to our codes, let's run some examples. So if I have my name Oscar, right, and I want to retrieve the first print, my name um, of this of index 0. So what is it? What do you think is gonna give me? It's gonna give me O. Okay. Or let me say. So it's gonna give me the letter O. Let me go with Python, the exact word that we just went over. Let me run this part, okay? And the first letter is going to be pattern. Now, if I want the last letter of my word pattern, if I go with -1, I should be able to have the letter N. So let me replace that by -1, and here we are. Um, let's use the negative index to retrieve the first um, letter of a string, which I usually don't recommend because 0 is pretty much straightforward. But let's try that. So if I do -6, I should be able to get the first letter of my string, right? So that's B. Now I was talking about uh, the slicing. So if I want to retrieve, um, I want to retrieve pyth. What do you think is going to be? Remember that every time you do slicing, you need to remember that the the there's an open interval on the right side, right? So until 4, we consider 0, 1, 2, and 3, not 4 included. So if you want pyth, you have to remember that you want to have up to, which is the that this go from 0, the column that will start from 0 up to the letter before the fourth position. So if you do that, you should be able to have your pyth. Okay, so remember that. Um, and so 4 will be the stop position. 0 will be by default the start position, and also the defaults of the of the position itself will be 1. Okay, so um, if I want to get, if I want to start with 4 itself, so say for instance I remove the column and I put the column after 4. That means what? That means we are requesting the letters that start with 4, including 4 itself, all the way to the end. So because there's no stop position, let me remove this. Because there's no stop position, pattern will consider all the letters all the way to the end. So if I run this, I should be able to get the last 2 letters. And I hope this makes sense. There are some there are some instances where you want and let me go to the next line for this. I want my name, and I want to get letters between 2 and 4. Okay, so how many letters am I going to get here? I'm going to get the letter related to position 2 and the letter related to position 3. So if I run this, I should be able to get th, and th is exactly 2 and 3 and not including 4. Okay. um I Now let me make something clear as well, because I'm going to use the start, the stop, and the step. I used to say position, but it's start, stop, and step. Now, step, as I mentioned before, should be by default, the step is 1. So if I request from 0 to 3, the step is going to be P, Y, and T with a step of 1 at a time. Okay, so this is the number of characters that need to be skipped. Um, and by default, if by default pattern use 1, and 1 means that nothing is kept. If we use 2, we go with every other letter in the string. So let us try that. So using the full start, stop, and step, we if I want to retrieve my name, and I want to start with the first, and then I want to do uh, 5, and I want to do 2. Or let me just put a big number, 7. It really doesn't matter, because the stop would be will go all the way to the end, right? And then I want every other letter starting with letter Y, and I want to skip one letter at a time, which means that I want step 2, and I want to go all the way to position 7, which I don't think we have here, but that means I want all the letters, or I can stop at position 5. I can stop at 5 if you want. But so what am I gonna have here if I run this? I'm gonna have Y, H, and N. So Y, H, and N. So because I requested letter that goes way further than the last one, which is five. So I hope you understand the concept of slicing. Now you can uh, you can finally uh, request my name dot colon and have that. So what does this mean? That means this means that I want all the letters of my string. So if I run this, I'm gonna get my pattern back. All right, so let's move on. Um, let's talk about immutability, immutable versus non-immutable. So we strings are the type of data structures that are immutable in the sense that their values cannot change. So and let me go with the command directly. So if I run s1 equals um, hello world, if I run this, right, and I want to change, say for instance, I want to change hello world with mellow words, right? So I want to replace the letter H with the letter M. In my previous video, I was showing you how to do the assignment statement. So I will have S1 and I want to write the position because I want, so S1 position 0 will give me H, right? So I want my H to become M. That's pretty much what is it. So I'll have my M and I want to replace that with I will have my M and I want to replace H with M. So what is it gonna do? Error, which means so it says type error, string object does not support item assignment. So you want to make sure you understand that because this is not a mistake from you. It's just that Python, strings are immutable. Um, you cannot change anything without inside strings. Now, how do you fix it? How do you fix it? Well, it's simple. You just do another assignment and you can just put M, the letter M, okay, and you concatenate with um, starting with the second letter of your string. How about that? This would be, and that will be S1 here. So what am I doing here? I want Python to, if you remember, S1 is hello world, right? And I want to start with not zero, I want to start with one. So it's going to start with hello space world, and is going to concatenate the letter M to this whole string. So it's gonna so if I run S2, it's gonna give me Mellow World. And as a matter of fact, just to show you um, how this second part after the concatenation work, the second operand work, you have Hello World, okay? And all I'm doing is concatenating the letter M to this string. Hope you understand this. Okay, you can put numbers and strings together as long as you change the types accordingly. Okay, so let me give you an example. If I have, say, I am, okay, and then I want to concatenate 10, okay, and I put another double quote, okay, so that's what I mean to say. So Python is not going to recognize this because you are mixing integers and string together. So if we run this, it's going to give me error. You cannot concatenate a letter and with a number. Strings with numbers. That's pretty much Python is trying to tell you. The way to remedy this is to use the string function, the str function, which converts any integer or any float into strings. So if I copy this and I make this a uh, a string, you can see the quotes, right, which is characterized what I was telling you from the beginning, which is characterized by a quote. A string is characterized by quotes and whatever is inside. So if I run this, I can run this now safely. I am 10 years old. Hey, another thing I should have added is, as you can see, the space, right? So I can just put a space right after I am, or just put uh, another another quote. And here as well, I should have put a space to make my strings more readable. And then I have I am 10 years old. All right, so now it's time to talk about method. Python objects are always followed by some type of action allowed on them. And these actions are called methods. In order to know what kind of actions are allowed on an object, one thing you can do is, so I have my name. If you remember, I have my name, Python. Let's run this. So since I have this, um, I want to know what type of action or what method can I use with this world or this string. So I'll run the dir command and I put inside of it up, my name. So what you see here is the variety of method that can be used along with this string. So case here, what I need to do, I already have my greetings, right? So greetings is this. And I want to get all the letters uppercase, so I just need to do greeting dot upper. So this method is the action of um, changing any lowercase to uppercase. So if I do this, I get everything uppercase. My name is Oscar, all upper. Say for instance, I want to count the number of time the letter A occurs in this string. So all I have to do is put the letter A within this, and of course my quote. And I have two. I have two occurrences of the letter A. Now, if you remember, we talked about position earlier. Um, if I have a string and I want to know the position of any specific letter in my string, this is really simple. I go with the method called find. So if I do greetings, that's find. What do I want to find? Which I want to find the position of letter T, for example. Okay, is Oscar is giving me -1 because there's no absolutely no string. I mean no letter with letter T. That's what usually pattern return when it doesn't find any letter. Request the position of a string. So see for instance, I have um, my greetings string, right? Say for instance, I want the position of the letter M. So it's gonna be greetings. That's find. It's gonna be the find method, and I'm gonna just gonna put letter M and it's going to be 0. Why? Because, but as a matter of fact, Python is very sensitive in terms of whether you're using capital M or lowercase m. So you want to be careful with what you're asking for. So, say for instance, I want to request lowercase m. Okay, it's going to give me a different letter. So you want to keep this in mind. All right. Um, there are ways you can split really your strings into different words. So this is a sentence, okay? Say for instance you want to turn this sentence into a word. Let me first pass greeting. So this is already greeting, okay? So let me have words equals greetings that split. So the split function or the split method splits the sentence into different words. So when you do that, uh, you have that and you can print words and you are going to have a list return. So you have my name is Oscar. All right, so there is also a method called join. There's also a method called join, and this is very helpful when you're trying to put some words together. So um, if I can call this S2, for example, and have this double quotes join and words. So words is a list, okay? It's a list of different words. I have my name is Oscar and I want to connect them back together and have one sentence. So I want to turn these words back into a sentence. In order for you to do that, you can use the join method or the join function. So when you do that, you get your S2, and here you go. You have your string back. Okay. Um, there are some instances where you want to now let's do this. Let's do something really fun. Let me show you this. So if I have S4, that's a string S4, and I have my double quote, and I have this is the tabulation. The tabulation character is it tells you uh, that you want to separate word by a four spaces at the same time. So if I do my name is Oscar, okay, and then I do this. This is for this helps going to the next s- to the next line. Okay. Um, if I run this, I have my S4, and if I run S4, that's what I have, right? Actually, this is not gonna work, but it's just uh, some character that I want to add to my string. Say for instance, I want to remove them. I want to remove the backslash t and the backslash n. What I need to do is to use the strip method. The strip method um, will help you remove this type of delimiter because you're gonna have a lot of these these type of um, instances where you will have some text, right? You will have some text that you need to parse, and you will have these weirds or these characters or these signs in your text, and you may want to get rid of them. If you want to do some natural language processing, you're gonna see a lot of those. So what you need to do is use the strip method, and the strip method remove all the tabulation and the white space. So when you do that, you get back your string as you want it to be. So yeah, this is the end of this lecture about strings. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next video for more contents. Make sure you subscribe, and I will see you later. Bye.